Hi everybody, my name's Alan Butler, and just in the way of a little bit of background information about myself, I made recovery in 2009 from 32 years in active addiction and active alcoholism. I had a major drug and alcohol problem for all those years, starting with drugs. My first problem was with heroin and cocaine, and that lasted for 22 years, and then I managed to put down the drugs but picked up the ball. So I spent a further 10 years in active alcoholism. I'm going to try to be precise today because I know that the topic is stigma, and I just want to talk a little bit about my experience of stigma. When I made my recovery in 2009, although I had a problem with just about every substance under the sun, I made my recovery using AA, NA and CA, right, all single-purpose fellowships. Right, and in single-purpose fellowships, right, you know, the primary objective of the fellowship is to carry the message to the still suffering alcoholic and addict, right, and anything that detracts from that, such as talk of medication, side effects of medication, mental health issues, right, is kind of unwelcomed, right, and that's a kind of given across all fellowships. So therefore, when I made my recovery, I made it with AA and the single-purpose fellowships for two reasons. One was that, you know, DDA did not exist, right, at that particular time. And two was because at that particular time, I would not have agreed that I had a mental health issue. Although I'd spent many times in psychiatric hospitals, right, I would have always argued that all my mental health problems came from my addiction, that my addiction came first and the mental health stuff came second. But the further I moved into recovery and the further behind I left my addiction issues, the more I realized just how much my mental health had played a part. Right? And I really wanted to discover that and delve into that. But I kind of realized that in single-purpose fellowships, there was no availability, there was no chance to talk about mental health. So there's a sort of stigma that you feel from even people in fellowship, right, towards mental health. Right, and there's also the stigma that you place upon yourself, right? Because you recognize that speaking about mental health in these forums, right, in these fellowships, is not welcome. So you close down yourself, right, and you don't talk about these issues, which then means that you're not going to get the identification. If you go to any fellowship room, right, there may be 30 people in there. Of them 30, maybe 15 have got mental health issues, right? But nobody speaks about it because it's not welcome. In 2016, I began, I was the co-founder, one of the co-founders of an organization, a fellowship called Dual Diagnosis Anonymous, a 17-step program, which was founded in America 20 years previous. And it came over to England, and myself and my partner got involved in trying to get that off the ground. And it's been such a roaring success because the 12 steps focus on the addictive side of a dual diagnosis, but they have 5 additional steps which focus on the mental health side of a dual diagnosis. Right? So it became a completely suited fellowship, right, for those struggling to live with a dual diagnosis, and it liberated them in the sense that they was able to talk openly in a room of their peers and receive positive feedback, because that's also possible in DDA, right? You know, so it was such a liberation to people. This is what everybody has said, to be able to talk about both issues that they're struggling with in the one room and receive positive feedback.